Hello, everyone. It's Friday, April 16th, 2021. This is your Commonwealth Club Week in Review. Hear what you missed this week and what we've got lined up for you next week. I'm Kimberly Moss, Vice President of Development at the Club, and I'll be your host today for the Week in Review. Help us spread the work of the Club by sharing your thoughts on past and upcoming programs on social media. It's a great way to show that you're in the know about the latest ideas from the world's thought leaders. It's been a full week of programs, and there's a lot planned for next week, so let's get started. We started the week on Tuesday at 10 a.m. with former radio and talk show host Noah Griffin on a flashback to old-time popular radio shows. It was a fascinating conversation about the heyday of radio entertainment, including memories from shows like The Lone Ranger, Lights Out, and more.
The first radio programs I listened to were Big John and Sparky, and I thought Sparky was real, but he was actually a little elf that was the imagination of the show's creator. And I was so disappointed to find out he wasn't real, because for me, he was real.
At 3 p.m., the club celebrated National Poetry Month by hosting acclaimed poet Phyllis Levin in conversation with Paul Gupta about the pleasures of poetry. The program also featured Bay Area student poets and poems from our live audience.
I remember being a freshman in college and hearing Joseph Brodsky read at my college. And I remember I felt as if electricity were going through me. I felt that when I heard him read. It's not rational, but it's real.
Tuesday evening at 6 p.m., author Jasmine Jarznick returned to the club to discuss her new novel, The Bohemians. She paints a vivid portrait of the past while connecting with our complicated present as corrupt politicians and a devastating pandemic bring tumult to San Francisco.
I started to read about Dorothea Lange, who we all know her work through the Depression, her Depression-era photographs. And so I wanted to tell her coming-of-age story, which then also becomes a coming-of-age story of San Francisco, too.
Wednesday at noon, NBC senior medical correspondent Dr. John Torres shared hacks and tips that could save your life. His new book, Dr. Disaster's Guide to Surviving Everything, provides a need-to-know guide on disaster preparedness, from avalanches and blackouts to wildfires and global pandemics.
And that's one thing I talk about in the book, having that will to survive, extremely important, because that's going to get you out of a lot of situations. Even if you do things wrong, having that will to survive, having a reason to come back from a situation. For a lot of people, it's family, the kids. I want to get back to them.
Later at 3 p.m., How Women Unlock Their Collective Power with CNN's Brooke Baldwin and Allison Camerata. They explored the rewards of women-led workspaces with the goal of fostering confident women in male-dominated industries.
Being a little bit older in the newsroom, I am so invigorated by these younger women. Don't just discount those younger people who you may be working with, because they are bright and have fresh ideas, and they energize me.
On Thursday at 3 p.m., we celebrated the legacy of Ruth Bader Ginsburg with UC Berkeley law professor Amanda Tyler in conversation with award-winning journalist Soledad O'Brien. They told the story of Justice Ginsburg's unwavering commitment to the achievement of a more perfect union.
What I love about that story is that it reveals how Justice Ginsburg liked to use her position to lift up other voices, and she liked to use her position to celebrate the women who came before her, which is something she did throughout her career.
We ended the programming week at noon on Friday with Dr. Michio Kaku discussing his new book, The God Equation. Following in the footsteps of Sir Isaac Newton and Edward Teller, Michio Kaku strives to continue Einstein's search for a theory of everything, seeking to popularize science and unify the fundamental forces of the universe.
In 50 years, we have seen no deviation from the standard model, the theory of almost everything, except finally we found a crack. A new particle perhaps will emerge, and we think that could be the next octave of the vibrating string.
Did you know the Commonwealth Club produces almost 500 programs a year? We couldn't do it without the help of folks like you. If you're already a member, thank you. If not, please consider joining the club. Memberships are as little as $10 a month. Enjoy exclusive discounts and access to special programs, all while knowing your contributions directly support our many public programs and civic initiatives. Here's what the club has lined up for you next week. On Tuesday at 10 a.m., Sabine Hossenfelder argues that the obsession of theoretical physicists with a beautiful theory has resulted in a failure to make any major breakthroughs for more than 4 decades in Lost in Math. At noon, former U.S. House Speaker John Boehner talks openly about his tales from the halls of power to broaden our perception of Washington's political landscape. What does it mean to be a real adult? Tuesday evening at 5 p.m., Julie Lithcott-Hames joins Inform to share her thoughts for young adults. She speaks with Darnell Moore on how young people can find a fulfilling career and gain confidence in the world today. Wednesday at 3 p.m., it's Marlon Peterson on Incarceration, Redemption, and an Abolitionist Freedom Song. He expresses that everything we were taught to believe about justice and gender needs to be re-examined. Peterson envisions a new world that focuses on healing instead of punishment and an end to mass incarceration. Thursday at noon, filmmaker and writer Bee Vang shines the spotlight on Hollywood and the mainstreaming of anti-Asian racism. Later at 5:30, it's former CDC Chief Dr. Tom Frieden, illustrating how the pandemic has raised concerns about balancing personal freedoms with the needs of the greater good. How can we protect both the health and rights of all Americans? We wrap up the week on Friday the 23rd at 6 p.m. with the Michelle Meow Show featuring the Adachi Project, a storytelling initiative illuminating timely stories and unseen perspectives of the U.S. criminal legal system through film and photojournalism. If you like what you heard today and want to support our many programs and initiatives, go to CommonwealthClub.org to join, give, and listen. Thanks again for being a part of the Commonwealth Club. We'll have another week in review for you next Friday. Bye-bye.